because he has a game, and I need a little time just to make them something to eat,
Yeah.
So it's good. All right, here we go. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bump and Run. I'm Pete Calsano, joined as always by my good friend, Mr. Scott Bracey. What's going on, dude?
Not too much, Peter. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing okay. I have to tell you, before we get into anything, I came to this revelation like Tuesday morning or something like that. I think it was on the way to work. And I thought, I got to save this for Scotty. I didn't even bring this up to you, but I'll throw this out to you, and then you tell me if you're in the same place or you're like, no, I feel like I'm getting somewhere. So the league to me, the NFL specifically to me, seems very wide open right now. I know there's Kansas City and kind of everybody else, but I feel like the everybody else, the group of everybody else, is a lot wider than we were probably expecting.
For now. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
So I said to myself, I think I have less of a clue about these teams and what's going on in the NFL right now. I have less of a clue now than I did before the season started.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Atlanta, you lose at home, but then you win on the road. Arizona, are they good? Are they bad? Are they somewhere in the middle? I don't know. You give Buffalo a run for their money. You just shit on the Rams.
New England,
like, it's weird, but
better than we think. Yeah, I know.
The Browns, and then on top of the Browns comes with the Cowboys. Like, you curb stomp the Browns week 1, and then you get curb stomped by the Saints week 2. Are the Saints for real? The whole thing, I'm just like,
the Raiders lose to a new coach, and then they beat Baltimore on the road. Like,
yeah. It's like, I don't want to go as far as saying the league's upside down, or even like someone like Buffalo. Like, I think before the season, both of us were like, Buffalo's probably going to take a step back. They're missing some talented players. They've got some injuries. They've let go of some guys on defense. Yeah, they're probably the second best team in the entire league. It's just all weird. And I say this is because then I went to go for our bet segment today. And I'm looking, I'm like, I don't have a fucking clue. I don't have a clue. So I start this episode of the show off by telling everybody, when we get to the bet segment, take it with a grain of salt, because
I mean, to be fair, we're treading water here. We're going 2-2, so we're treading water early.
2-2 right now, because I swear, and we're gonna get it. We might as well just get right into the NFL right now. I don't get it. Like, even like the Detroit Lions, I don't know.
Vikings.
Are they good? Are they good? This happens, right? Teams peak and then they kind of take a step back, because we gave them the excuse week 1. Hey, you didn't play great, but you won, so that's impressive. It was one of our impressed, or one of my impressed things, right? And then you go lose at home to Tampa.
Crazy.
Is Tampa for real?
As 8-point favorites.
They look it. I don't know. And then I'm looking at the spreads and I'm like, I don't get it. Like, even for tonight's game, the Jets are favored by 6. The Jets are favored by 6. 6 is a lot in the NFL.
Sure.
And I'm kind of at a loss. So I set up all the technical stuff for the podcast earlier. You're like, ooh, you're on your game, Michael, because I'm just excited to talk about it, because I am genuinely excited to hear what you have to say about some of these things. Because I'm kind of lost. I know what I'm seeing, but I don't know what it means. You know, that's where I'm going with it.
Sure.
Like, I know what I'm seeing and what's happening. I just don't know what it means moving forward. Like, you look at Tennessee. Tennessee is 0-2. If you just scrap 2 plays out of 2 games, they're probably undefeated.
I know.
It's like, and then the question that becomes of that is, what does that mean? Are they bad or are they good? I don't know. So let's get into it. What do you got for us?
Bobby Mack, hello, sir. So the week that made Pete confused is in the rearview mirror, and we'll start last Thursday night. The Miami Dolphins lose, and they lost their quarterback for at least a month. Tua goes down with another concussion. I know Skylar Thompson was on the roster for a little while. He had a playoff game under his belt and almost won the game in Buffalo a couple years ago.
True story.
However, it's hard to go in cold with no game plan. McDaniel this week will coach him up. But, man, Dolphins, I had them win the division. That looks very, very ugly at this point.
Yeah, and, the hit itself, or I shouldn't even say the hit itself, the play itself, there was no hit.
No.
I mean, he put his head, and of all people,
All right.
who was the dude's
DeMar
name?
Hamlin.
DeMar Hamlin. Of all people, he ends up hitting DeMar Hamlin.
In the same exact hit he got hurt on?
In the same position on his
Dude,
chest.
what
Yeah,
a
like
fucking-
when you're putting your chest, your head into someone's chest, and you get the concussion,
Yeah.
clearly, he has a significantly higher susceptibility to concussions
Yeah.
than most every other player in the NFL. Because that's not a concussion-worthy play. I don't care what anybody says.
Nope, I agree.
You see that play literally, I don't know how many plays there are, 80, 90 plays in a game. Every one of them ends much worse than that, and they're not concussed.
And DeMar Hamlin wasn't going forward with his speed, and he was catching him going backwards, so there was no impact. Like,
I know.
Yeah, I know.
No helmet to helmet, no shoulder to helmet, no helmet to ground. With that said, all I heard all this week, of course, for people, who are not Tua or his family, telling him he should retire. I think he should retire. Real easy to say.
As Matt just said to him.
Yeah, real easy to say when you don't have the $250 million on the table.
Sure.
I'll be honest with you, dude. I'm clearly, it is so crystal clear that he has higher susceptibility to concussion. But if it's me, I ain't retiring.
Yeah, I wouldn't retire.
And who are we? Who are we to tell somebody else what to do with their life and how, what they should say yes to and what they should say no to, what they should risk? If a cop gets shot in the line of duty and he wants to go back on duty, do we tell him he has to retire? No, we don't do that. You got these guys in Alaska crabbing, risking their lives for fucking crab meat, okay? Do we tell them they have to retire if they get hooked in the hand or something, or they get tossed off the boat?
Listen, crab meat's no joke, so let's calm down.
Well, listen, it's especially that Alaskan crab meat's fantastic.
Yeah, I know. Let's calm down.
But I'm just saying, like, lots of people have risky jobs. Firemen have real serious situations.
Construction workers getting all that.
What about people that work down at the Twin Towers after 9/11? They all got some kind of poisoning, cancer, all kinds of shit that went on, right? We don't tell people what they can and can't do. If they want to continue working, they continue working. It's their business, not mine. So while I get it, I don't like when anybody says, "Oh, he should definitely retire." If I was, be really careful about that. As you're making $75,000 a year, what you would do for $250 million. Right. I'm just saying. That's all.
Well, you said it before. The Cowboys blown out at home versus the Saints.
This is one of those things where I say the world is upside down. Like, what the hell has gotten into the Saints? This team is the best. They're playing the best football in the entire NFL right now.
They've scored on every possession I think they've had this year.
I think it was something like 15 straight possessions.
Oh my God.
It's insanity. Like, it's bananas. Carr is playing out of his mind. The offensive line is playing great. Did you see the way they were driving the Dallas defensive line 5-6 yards back into the defensive backfield?
Sure did.
Yeah, you're gonna run the ball really well, and then play action is gonna be fantastic in that scenario. And then obviously their defense is really good. And I think the 19 was even a gift to Dallas because they were smothering them for most of the game. So, shit.
They have a new offensive coordinator. I can't think of who it is at the moment.
Clint Kubiak, right?
Oh, Kubiak's kid, yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, him and Derek Carr or whatever is working.
I think he's coming from the 49ers staff, if I'm not mistaken.
Shocker.
Or there's some relation there. But I think there's something with that. So, yeah. So, as you sit here, do you believe in the Saints?
It's kind of hard not to, bro. I got to be honest with you. The Panther game I took with a grain of salt, but when you go into Dallas on a 1 o'clock game and fucking crush them.
In Dallas.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a thing.
Listen,
Dallas has some questions.
Another test this week. Philly coming off a loss. It's going to be salty. We'll see.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, good point.
The Detroit Lions, almost double time of possession, fell 4 points short at home to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Fascinating because Baker Mayfield had another great game. Your boy Aiden Hutchinson, 4.5 sacks?
4, and it should have been 5. They fucking screwed him on half of one.
I give Baker a lot of credit because he's getting slammed the whole fucking game. He's getting pressure in his face the whole game, but yet still hung in there, made plays. And then I don't know if it was post-game press conference or if it was early this week press conference. I'm sitting here like, who the fuck is this guy? saying all the right things.
It's
sounds like a leader, got his head on straight. It's amazing what happens when you're focused.
And then you hear what you said about Bryce Young too.
Yes, I think that's the part I'm talking about.
The guy has been.
He's not done yet. He's a good kid, hard worker, and I'm like, sometimes where you start. I'm not saying where I was bad. That's not what I mean. And I'm like, he doesn't want.
Crazy.
Who is this guy?
I know. I love this
guy.
I love to see it.
Shockingly, he's playing fantastic along with a better attitude. Isn't that something? It's amazing. But he's playing great, and they look really good. Hey, let's give some credit to Todd Bowles, too. Me and you both, neither one of us really like him as a head coach, and it's still early. But he's got these guys playing really good football.
Really Mac, too soon.
It's a fair question. But and I'm not saying so one of our listeners said ask Junior Seau if the money was worth it. Obviously, he's dead. So I get it. I'm just saying not saying I disagree. Let me just be clear. The guy's got real sensitivities to concussions. It's probably best if he doesn't. I'm just saying any one of us regular folk, if we had a chance to make a quarter $2 billion, because that's what he has on the line right now. He just signed that contract. I don't know that we're walking away from that. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
And he's still, 25?
Yeah, he's a young dude. Now, personally, I'll be honest with you, as I listen to him do interviews and stuff like that, I think he'd be better than Tom Brady if he was in the booth. I think he actually has a really good way about him. His voice sounds nice, and he's really very clear and articulate. So I think he actually does have a future in broadcasting if he wanted it. I'm just saying I'm not going to tell a guy you can't go out and make $250 million.
Right.
So that's all.
I don't know where this guy falls in on the coaching ranks, but Kevin O'Connell can fucking coach.
Absolutely. Minnesota Vikings.
Beat San Francisco at home. I know they were a little banged up. No McCaffrey, but that didn't matter the week before. Mason, he still ran for 100 yards, I think. They lost Debo late in the game. But, dude, my God, this guy can call plays.
He's kind of very much like a new quarterback whisperer, if you really think about it. If you go back to how long he's been there with Kirk Cousins, the job he did with some backup quarterbacks in Minnesota. Josh Dobbs right off the street throwing like 3 touchdown passes. And like the job, that he's done with Sam Darnold is just flat out amazing. Obviously some of that credit has to go to Sam Darnold. He's done a fantastic fucking job working hard. It's nice that you have, uber weapons all over the field and a nice offensive line. So I'm happy to see it. You and I definitely liked Sam Darnold coming out of college. What he had to deal with the Jets was an absolute travesty. Obviously going to Carolina wasn't much better. That's a dumpster fire as well. So good for him that he's doing well. I hope it continues.
I feel like I want to put that on repeat and play it every year. What he has to deal with the Jets is a travesty. Boom. 2000, 2001,
Geno
2002.
Smith. You name the guy.
Zach Wilson.
Just go down the line. Yeah. Just go down the line.
Browning Nagel, for Christ's sake. Let's keep going.
You mentioned Zach Wilson. Did you see the rumor is that the Giants are interested in trading for Zach Wilson?
I did not see that. Oh, boy.
True story.
The Las Vegas Raiders come back from, I think, 10 down with half the fourth quarter to go and beat the Ravens.
Let me ask you a question. Have we underrated Gardner Minshew?
No, I don't think so. I think he's I think he's right where he should be. He's a little wild card. Hair of the ass, as you say. Wild hair up the ass.
As you watch,
turns over a bad play, and Max Crosby kind of calmed him down, and then came back, and you know what I mean? Like, he's just that kind of guy.
Let me throw this at you. As you watch the Indianapolis Colts start off 0-2, and they were 1-3 with Richardson as their starter last year, and then end the season at 9-8. Does that change your mind at all? I'm not saying he's like a top 10, top 15 quarterback. I still think I think he's a bottom third of starting quarterbacks.
20, 22, 23. Does it?
But
my
point is kind of in the same,
doesn't.
Kind of along the same lines with Sam Darnold, Geno Smith. These guys, you put some talent around him, and look what he's capable of doing.
Well, he's got one of the best wide receivers in the league right now. I mean, let's be fair.
Well, so does Sam Darnold. So does
but the Colts don't have that. I'm saying you're comparing him to the Colts team. They don't have that.
No. I'm just saying what he did with the Colts with less. Like, he went 9-8 with the Colts, and now you look at the Colts at 0-2, and you're like, well, maybe some of that 9-8 was on Gardner Minshew's shoulders.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
That's what I mean by that.
That's fair. I get you.
You know, again, you look at like a Brock Purdy. What does everybody say? Well, look, there's a lot of talent around. Look at Sam Darnold. You got a lot of talent. Not for anything. You look at Joe Burrow. There's a lot of fucking talent there. Like, it helps.
Yeah.
You know, so sure, of course, you're playing better when you got better players around you. I'm just saying he's actually doing it. That's all I mean.
I got you.
I think, again, I'm not trying to say he's an elite starter. I'm not trying to say, like, he's a 10-year answer. I just think he's probably a little better than we probably gave him credit for. Again, look at who he played for. Jacksonville, backup for the Eagles. Actually had a 300-yard passing game against the Jets when he came in starting for the Eagles. 9-8 with the Colts last year. Again, coming in raw, doesn't know the offense, but still did what he did. I don't know. I've always thought he's a little better than we give him credit for. Again, I don't think he's great, but I don't think he's just a backup. That's all. But it's a great win. And, oh, by the way, bad loss for the Ravens. 0-2 Ravens, Lamar Jackson. He's about to destroy my theory that while you may never win a Super Bowl, Jackson, you're never going to win less than 10 games. Well,
that son of a bitch.
Danger. So that's a bad one. And they have an interesting game. We'll talk about it, I'm sure, coming up this week. So, fascinating. Fascinating to me. That one was like, wow, what the hell just happened? What did we just see? So,
2 weeks, and I am knocked out of my suicide pool. Back-to-back weeks, I am out.
Jesus. It's crazy. Was that your game?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm sure it knocked out a shitload of
We
people.
started with 900 people, 9-something. We're down to like 230 in 2 weeks.
God.
Crazy. We were
what was the Cincinnati, the first week one?
Yeah, Cincinnati. And then last week was Dallas, Ravens, and then someone else. That was the third one that was pretty right on cue. The Rams. The Rams let us down pretty good. Are you frozen right now? What happened here? Oh boy.
That was weird.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Okay. So you were saying, go ahead.
The Rams really kicked us in the ass. And over from quarter one.
It's probably my best bet of the week last week. It was the one bet that I really had confidence in.
Too crazy. I know. They lost Cooper Kupp now as well.
They are depleted.
Yeah, it's not
like they are wiped out.
They got their lineman back, but who the hell is he going to throw to?
Yeah, it's just pretty crazy. The other side of the ball, dude, Kyler Murray. Like
another guy, man.
There's an argument to be made that he was the offensive player of the week last week. Like if you look around the league, did anybody really? I don't know. I don't even know if they do that. I'm just saying, like I watched and I'm like, was anybody more exciting, more interesting, more dominating than Kyler Murray?
Baker, no, not really. Let me think.
Aaron Rodgers?
No.
I mean, he made chicken salad out of chicken shit or chicken shit.
Yeah, Derek Carr again.
There's an argument for that. I just like he ran around, but he also worked from the pocket. Like he was complete last week. I just new dude. I don't know if it was the injury. I don't know if it's the new coach. I don't know what it was that has changed this guy. Better leader, but he has been playing out of his mind.
Sure has.
Frankly, even since the end of last year, but definitely in the beginning of this year. So.
Kansas City Chiefs, late field goal against the Bengals. I feel like this team has fucking 9 lives. It's really annoying at this point. I got to be honest with you.
It really is something because, again, they're not that wasn't their best football. I don't even think it was Cincinnati's best football either, but it definitely I don't think that Kansas City has played their best football yet. And it's just amazing to me, like no matter what's happening in the game, no matter how the game has gone, if the Chiefs are within striking distance and less than 5 minutes to go, you're like, they're going to do it.
It's a new
Like
Patriot.
it's not even a thing anymore. Like it's not even a question. I had some issues with the pass interference. I felt like both guys were going for the ball.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was just defense, like he was just defending. I thought he was going for the ball, and I always was under the impression that the rule was both players have equal access to the ball, equal right to the ball. So while he did get there a little early, a split second early,
Right.
I thought he was going for the ball. So I thought in that case it didn't matter. So I didn't particularly like the call. But it's just amazing to me how they just continue to do it. It's just something else. Joe Burrow, what'd you think? I mean,
no, he played it right. One bad fumble, but he played it right for the most part.
Yeah.
The Bengals are not afraid of them, though. Like,
absolutely not, nor should they be.
They know how to play them, and again, they were down Higgins again, and guy in defense and whatever. But
it's such a fascinating thing when you see stuff like that. Like, I don't think anybody thinks Cincinnati's a better team than Kansas City, but sometimes there's just matchups. I don't know if it's Joe Burrow and the coach. I don't know if it's the wide receivers. I don't know if it's scheme, but whatever it is, to your point, Cincinnati certainly isn't afraid of them. In fact, I think they're probably pretty confident against them.
Yeah.
And I think even Kansas City knows that. It's like the one team that I'm not going to say they're scared of, but they know they can't just roll the ball out there and they're going to get the W.
Lou Amarillo, their DC when Cincinnati, knows how to play Mahomes and Kelsey and stuff like that. So something to look for later on, hopefully, if the Bengals get their shit together.
Yeah, and of course, because they start 0-2 again. I saw this stat, dude. Do you know that they are 1-9 in their first 2 games of the season for the last 5 years?
That's insane.
1-9.
I know.
That goes on the coach, and I like the coach, but that goes on the coach.
Dude, like you put your back against the wall. I mean, they know how to get out of it, but why do you continually do this to yourself, though? It's like,
I mean, we talked about this last week when they started 0-1. Like, you guys do some self-examination, or to be totally honest with you, what you might want to do is get some outside examination. I don't know, maybe call like a Mike Tannenbaum or call Bill Parcells or call Bill Belichick and say, hey, man, mind if I throw some things at you and you tell me what you think about why we're getting off to these slow starts every year? Is it something we're doing in camp? Is it something we're doing in the offseason? Is it the way we're running camp? Is it the fact that we don't put Joe Burrow on the field during preseason and he's rusty and not ready to go? Maybe it's a better idea to actually look outside the outside the building and see if anybody has a
Mike Holmgren, Bill Cowher. There's a ton of guys.
Something like that. Somebody like that to just come in and kind of do a little accounting of what's going on. Never know. It is a fascinating situation, though. It's the only team in the league that you look and you say, well, they started 0-2, but it doesn't matter. Anybody else starts 0-2, and you're like, oh boy, big trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What is it? Something like 12% of the teams in the last 20 years. If you start 0-2, only 12% of the teams.
And they got 2 of them, I think.
And I think they're like the ones.
Yeah.
They're the exception. So yeah, it's not good. It's not an ideal situation. But it's funny how we we hold off on too much judgment with them because they've worked their way out of this in the
past. Oh, excuse me. That's what Saquon Barkley and the Eagles did Monday night against the Falcons. Choke City.
Dude, I have been driven nuts all week by the talking heads all over TV talking about how this is a terrible call. They should have gone for it on 4th down. I need to address both of these things.
Please, because I have some stuff too.
Is Saquon not regarded as one of the best receiving running backs in the entire league?
Yep.
He is, right?
Yep.
Did the play work perfectly? Wasn't Saquon wide open?
Sure did.
Was there anybody in Jalen Hurts' face?
Nope.
Nobody, right? Did he make a bad pass? Did he throw it at his feet, throw it over his head? Almost hit him in the face with the ball. This is what we call a perfect call. The defense is expecting you to run it up the middle because you want to keep the clock going. If he just catches that ball, the game is over. They get the first down. Atlanta has no timeouts left, and it's over. That's part one. Anybody who complains about the call, then you just don't understand football. Number 2, why do you kick the field goal? Folks, have we not seen guys like Patrick Mahomes with 13 seconds left on a clock go enough distance to kick a field goal? It's a lot harder to go 80, 70 yards to get a touchdown in a minute than it is to go 40 yards and kick a field goal. So you make it a touchdown game. You make it so that they have to go get the touchdown. And you trust your defense, who had been playing half-decent defense. They can't stop the run at all, but you're not trying to stop the run in the last minute of the game. Your defense gave up 70 yards on the last drive. That's not Sirianni.
So to play devil's advocate, I agree with everything you just said. However, it was a bad 4 minutes for the Eagles, dude. There's no way about it, or whatever, maybe less than that. If you run it on 3rd and 3, you get 2 yards, whatever, and then you got the tush push, and then you got 4th and 3.
But then you're going to kick a field goal anyway.
Yeah, but listen, at least if you run it twice, dude, you know you're going to get the first down on 4th and 1 with the tush push.
No, see, you don't know that. Earlier this season, they fumbled it. And earlier, either in this game or in the last game, they fumbled it, and once they didn't get it. So this year, maybe it's because of no Jason Kelce. I don't know. But they haven't gotten it on two separate
I saw the one. I didn't see the second one.
Yeah, they fumbled one time, and they didn't get the first down another time. So it's not the automatic that it was. And second of all, the only reason we're talking about this is because Saquon Barkley drops that ball. We have seen Andy Reid. I saw Andy Reid do that exact play with the backup quarterback in the game. Do you remember who was the backup quarterback? He was from Michigan.
Chad Henne. Yeah.
It was Chad Henne. And he threw the ball on 4th and 3 to get a first down and completed it. I remember thinking, the balls on Andy Reid. It's nothing to do with Patrick Mahomes. It's a whole nother thing to do it with Chad Henne. And you complete it. And what did I say about Andy Reid when that happened? Oh, he's such a great play caller. He knows exactly what to do. He knows his team. This was a perfectly called and timed play. Obviously, Atlanta was expecting a run up the middle. They had 5 guys up squeezing the line.
Yep.
That is why Saquon had nobody on him. It was perfectly executed play except for one final thing. He dropped the ball. Why I honestly, I feel like these channels now, they can't talk bad about players anymore. Like, Saquon fucked up.
No, you can't.
He's a great player. And he has been fantastic so far for the Eagles. I'm so upset here.
Fumble.
Throwing the equipment all over the place. He's been better than I expected him to be. I thought there'd be a little hiccups, or maybe he's been great. But what are we talking about here? This ball hit him in the fucking face and he dropped it. Why are we going any further than that? He catches that ball, which I was talking with some people at work. If you ran that play 100 times, he catches that ball 98 or 99 times. Right. Maybe 100. Maybe 100 out of 100. Maybe if you ran it 1,000 times, he might drop it twice. Like, the conversation should end there. It was a perfect play call. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing if he was covered.
Right.
Like, it was, you telegraphed it. It was covered, and Hurts had someone in his face, and he got sacked. But that would have been fine, too, because then the clock would have been kept running. I think people would have rather Hurts got sacked than, like, blame it on Saquon. It would have been a first down. The game is over. You take a knee after that. Atlanta had no timeouts left.
That's it.
It was over, folks. I don't understand why it goes any further than that. But anyway, it's a great win for Atlanta. And, Kirk Cousins, here's something else that people don't realize. He's won 4 out of his last 5 Monday night games. The whole big game Kirk thing, like he doesn't play well in the big games, he's kind of put that behind him. He's won 4 of his last 5 Monday nighters. So
yeah, he was on DP yesterday. He was funny. He's a good interview too. He's a good guy.
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
He's good. He knows the game now.
Yeah, and he knows what people say, and he doesn't fire back very
He goes,
often.
it's funny. He goes, 2 of my last couple years, I played like shit, and we won. And then there's some we've lost, and I played great. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just one of those things.
But they're all yeah. The losses are on him. The wins don't matter. Yeah.
He goes, well, I like to be on the other side of the win because it's a team thing anyway. So he gets
Absolutely.
it. He knows.
Of course.
Peter, would you like to do impress, depress before we go on to week 3?
Absolutely. Why don't we do that?
Okay.
I'll give you my first impressed.
Sure.
I am really, truly, and I'm happy about it, and I'm also very impressed. I didn't think it'd be this good with Sam Darnold. And to your point, like, you got to give the coach McConnell some credit there. But he has played absolutely phenomenal. Dude, his completion percentage is something like 78%. It's nuts. And if he's going to play even close to that, and close to the way they have the first 2 games of the season, they're going to be really, really tough to beat. They made San Fran look bad.
Yeah, they did.
They as you know, what's funny. As much as San Fran dominated the Jets in week 1, that's how much Minnesota's dominated them in week 2. Like, they really look good. And Sam is the tip of the spear for me, because when your quarterback is playing well, everybody else feels better. Everybody else has confidence, and they are playing sky high right now. So my first guy I'm impressed with is Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I like that one. First one I'm going to is my guy, Aiden Hutchinson. Dude, this is fucking incredible, bro. 4.5 sacks, could have been 5. I think he leads the league in pressures.
How many? Do you remember how many did he have any in week 1?
He had 1 sack in week 1.
So he's got 5.5 already.
He led the league in pressures week 1, or tied with somebody for week 1. And then obviously, when you have 4.5 sacks, you can't possibly not lead the league in pressures.
Yeah.
Week 2. He has a different motor on him, dude. And then J.J. Watt was tweeting at him. And just as a fan, I love to see it. Unfortunately, how do you have 4.5 sacks and lose the game?
Because nothing else was working very well.
Crazy, man. And dude, listen, I love Jared Goff, but 50-something attempts for him is way too high.
Way too much. He didn't play particularly well either. They should be able to run the ball a lot better. I don't care who they're playing. They should be, with that offensive line, they should be able to run the ball a lot better. But yeah. My second team, the second one I'm impressed with, Buffalo Bills. I expected them to take a little bit of a step back. I know you didn't have them win a division. You had them in second place. I think I did too.
Yeah. Behind
the Jets, actually. But I am wildly impressed. I love the job that Brady is doing as the offensive coordinator. Like a perfect balance between run and pass. They're running the ball. This is the best that they've run the ball in the Josh Allen era. They have not run the ball this well. And because of that, they're able to do play action. And the passing game is so much more effective because the defense isn't ready for it. They're ready to defend the run so much. I'm really, really impressed with the Buffalo Bills. And on top of that, defensively, they're playing pretty good. Consider how many guys they lost, injuries, turnover with coaching staff. Like,
yeah,
I'm really impressed with Buffalo so far.
Yep. Listen, I will admit when I'm wrong or a little shaky here. Derek Carr and the Saints both. Dennis
my
Allen,
third one. Yeah, my third one.
But
everything. You even got to give it to Dennis Allen.
That's
the
right.
Defense is lights out.
Yeah.
The offensive line is tits. Like,
special
receivers
teams
are making plays, special teams, everything. But yeah, Derek Carr specifically. Holy Jesus.
You got
your third one? I had Saints
yeah.
was my third that I'm impressed with. Like, blown away. They're one of the main reasons I opened the show by saying, I don't know. I don't really know what's going on. Like, I really don't know what's going on. Like, I'd like.
No, not again.
I can discuss it, but anything. So,
my third one.
And your
Kyler Murray and the Cardinals.
Yeah, fair. Totally fair.
Get my Marvin Harrison 2 in there. He woke up. Again, listen, everyone's going nuts week 1. Relax.
Yeah. Come on. It goes like that. A lot of times with wide receivers, you fantasy players, you all know this.
Yeah. One
week your guy has 3 touchdowns and 180 yards, and the next week he's got 3 catches for 18 yards.
Correct.
The nature of the position.
2 touchdowns, 4 catches over 100 yards. Relax. He's going to be. They have a rapport already. They got a good tight end. They're going to be fine.
Yeah. They need to do some work on defense, but they're an interesting team, dude. They're an interesting
By the way,
team.
I took your advice and took the over. I barely got there because the Rams didn't do much offensively.
I know.
But I hit it. Depressed.
Who's got me depressed right now? The Carolina Panthers. I thought they'd be a little improved this year. I got to be honest with you, they might be worse, which is really saying something. They lost a lot of games last year, but a lot of those games were actually kind of close. Defense played pretty well last year. They look it's sad. And, you know, with an owner like Tepper who doesn't have a lot of patience, I don't like saying this kind of stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if this coach is one and done. You're benching
another guy.
This is what I'm saying. Like,
crazy.
And I feel bad about it, but because they're really deplete of any kind of much talent there. But they just benched what the hell's his name?
Bryce Young.
I'm sure they're going to go back to him at some point. Just trying to give him a little breather, I suspect. Like, sit back, watch a little bit, watch the Red Pistol or whatever the hell his name is.
The Red Rifle, Andy.
The Red Rifle, yeah, he's going to start. I think it's actually a good idea to let him sit and watch a little bit.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
There's nothing good right now in Carolina with football. Nothing.
For me, Bo Nix and the Broncos. God almighty.
Fair.
I know it's early. I know he's a rookie. But I agree. Going to Seattle and then playing a Pittsburgh defense. I'm not. Listen, I'm worried about Nix. I'm not going to lie to you. But I'm a little worried about Sean Payton here, too, now. They're not throwing the ball downfield. Cortland Sutton's probably the only weapon they kind of have. Their running game's invisible. Their defense kept them in it, man. You can't get mad at the defense giving up 13 points. I mean, Christ.
Absolutely.
In an offensive league, I'm a little nervous, and their schedule does not get easier. They go to Tampa, then they play you guys. I think it's
funny you mentioned the 13 points playing good defense. I was really obviously the Jets didn't play well, but they won, and they ended up scoring 24 points, which doesn't sound like a lot. I don't really think it is a lot. You know, they were the third leading scoring team in the NFL until this week. Most of the teams.
Seriously?
Dude, most of the teams didn't even score 20. It was crazy.
God. Offenses are way back because no one plays preseason.
Nobody plays
way
preseason.
Back, bro.
Nobody plays preseason.
I believe you. I just want to look at my own eyes.
It was Kansas City and Cincinnati was 26, 25?
13-6, 22-21, 19-13, 26-25. You're right, Bengals, Chiefs.
So those two were
41
over.
Cardinals.
Right. And then you had
44 Saints.
Saints.
Oh, my God.
Jets scored more than everybody else.
23-17, 23-20. Oh, the Raiders and Chargers scored 26 as well, but that's right there.
But you know what I'm saying? I looked at it and it was putrid, and here they are. They were one of the higher scoring teams in the league. It's just it was an interesting week like that. My second team that depressed me is Tennessee, and more specifically Will Levis. Interestingly enough, I don't think he's played terrible for each game. If you look at the entirety of the game each time, he actually wasn't bad. He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad. The two plays specifically, one against the Bears and one against the Jets, you had a chance to go up 10-0 right before the half against the Jets, and instead you fumble and the Jets go down and get a touchdown and tie the game. You were winning against the Bears. You give up the stupid interception that gets taken back for a touchdown. You end up losing that game. It's just it's disappointing because if you really look at those first two games, the defense has played very, very well.
Yep.
We talked about their defense might be a little underrated before the season even started, and they might very well be. If Will Levis can just stop with these bad turnovers, this is not regular turnovers or a deflected ball, which what are you going to do? Shit like that happens sometimes. We're talking about bad decisions that are costing you the game. So that's my second one. Will Levis specifically, but Tennessee.
I got the same thing. Titans and Will Levis both. Yep.
Okay, and then finally it's the Bears, and really it's more like Caleb Williams. I forget his freaking name every goddamn time he's on the herd, and he's fantastic.
Greg Cosell.
Greg Cosell, thank you. He was on today talking about it, and he says the guy, because
you should put a sticky note on top of your computer.
No, Greg Cosell, I know. Colin
Coward
was saying
Flores both. Put both things on.
Yeah, that's right. Colin was saying well, the protection is bad, and Greg Cosell's Caleb Williams holds on to the ball too long. He doesn't adjust well in the pocket, and his first step is usually go backwards. And in the NFL, you just can't go backwards. In college football, you can do that because he's just faster and better than everybody else. 99% of it. You're not. If you're watching this game, he's not running like he did in college. These guys are running his ass down.
Yeah. And
they're sacking him. And he's turning the ball over, and he's trying to throw across his body, which he was able to do in college, and he's not able to do now. He's trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, which he can't do anymore because these guys are so goddamn fast on a defensive line and linebackers and stuff like that. So, he has to settle down. He has to figure out how to work within the pocket. If and when he does, I still think he'll be okay. But he has been absolutely atrocious. We're talking about a 50% completion percentage through two games. It's bad. It's just bad.
Yep.
A lot of work there needs to be done.
Last one for me. I got the Ravens, dude. That you cannot lose that fucking game at being 0-1 at home against the Raiders and Gardner Minshew
up double digits
in the fourth quarter. That's awful. I'm sorry. That's all you can't do it. You're Harbaugh and Lamar. You guys are two veteran coach and quarterback. You cannot lose that game. Plus,
I don't understand. You got Henry as your running back. You're not just grinding that shit out in the fourth quarter just to get the game done.
Disgusting.
What's going on there? It's just so odd. So, yeah, that's a good one too.
Week 3 coming up. We'll start this week with your boys tonight at the Meadowlands. The Patriots, surprising Patriots, at the Jets.
They're not a particularly good offensive team, but defensively they're very strong. And I am stunned, frankly, that the Jets are 6-point favorites tonight. You couldn't get me to touch. I think the Jets will win. But what does that mean? 21-20, 18-17, 17-15, 13-12? I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I just don't think they deserve to be. Maybe they will cover. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I don't understand in a league where the Chicago Bears go into Houston and they're only 5.5, 6-point dogs. Why on earth? And Houston, we think, is a contender, a Super Bowl contender.
Yep.
And we think Chicago's probably a third or fourth place team at best. Third at best, fourth place team. They're 5.5, 6-point favorites. Why the hell are the Jets 6-point favorites? I don't understand that.
Are people
far be it from me to question.
Like
far be it from me to question Las Vegas. That's all I'm going to tell you about that. Like, it sounds crazy to me, but Vegas knows what they're doing. So,
well, here's what I think, and I'll tell you just real quick. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're on it. I can tell you, I like the Jets because everyone likes New England.
It's always a good way to go. When everybody's absolutely certain, that's when you go the other direction.
Mr. Rothenberger called me before we're talking. He said that he heard something 90-something % were on the Eagles on Monday night.
Wow!
And
really?
Then boom, and then you get a shaft in the ass. Yeah.
Because we're still stuck on what we saw last week or a week before, and I'm very interested to see how Aaron Rodgers does. I thought he was a little better. He certainly was better in the second half last week.
Yeah,
and he was better in this game than he was in the first game. Although he's got 4 touchdown passes through 2 games. I don't know that Zach Wilson had 4 touchdown passes through 10 games. So you got to be happy with that. It's efficient. It's not. There's no mistakes. Of course, he's only had 1 interception. But even that one was late. Games over at that point in the first game. So, we're getting out of Rodgers what we hoped. I think this offense will continue to grow and get better as the season goes on.
I like your 2-headed monster you got going on now, Braylon Allen and Mr. Brees Hall. Yeah, it's good. It keeps Rodgers healthier, which is good. You still need a second guy at wide receiver. I know, that's huge.
I know. Mike Williams is starting to work his way in. He's getting healthier. He's getting more acclimated with Aaron Rodgers. The Jermaine Johnson injury, that hurts a lot. Although, I will say, Will McDonald had 3 sacks last week. So, there's a lot there to be excited about. He is fast as shit. He comes off the edge really hard. He had 3 sacks. So, we shall see. 6 sounds like a lot to me. I don't know.
The Houston Texans at the Minnesota Vikings. I think this game's very intriguing.
Oh, my God, because Minnesota's kind of playing over their heads, and Houston, we think, is one of the better teams in the league. C.J. Stroud is really good. He is really good. He makes some of the difficult things look very easy and regular. They're not.
Yeah. No.
And you know what we say about Patrick Mahomes, how I said to you, everybody thinks of the special plays, but what he does better than anybody else is he doesn't miss layups. Little dink, little dunk. C.J. Stroud's the same way. It's a quick out, he's got it. He doesn't miss. He doesn't miss the easy ones. If you're going to give him free yards, he takes it and he's got it and he doesn't miss. This is like a Zach Wilson and Justin Fields miss those guys all the time. You got a guy out in the flat and you just get to him, let him run. I can't even do that. So
him and Nico Collins just forming a hell of a combination.
Absolutely. So that'll be fascinating.
The unlikely combination of Ohio State, Michigan, but it's working pretty good.
Imagine that, right?
Yeah.
How things change.
I said this game before. I love this game as well. I think this is going to go down to a field goal game. I got the Eagles at the Saints.
Yeah. This is one of those again where I don't know what to think, because do you fully believe in New Orleans? Do you believe that this is who they are? And then with Philly, like, are they the team we saw in week 1 or are they the team we saw in week 2? I don't even think the team we saw in week 2 was that bad.
I don't think the team we saw in week 1 was that great. So
was that great? Yeah. So it's just weird. It's just so weird. This is what I'm saying. Like, if either team won by 10 points, would you be surprised?
Yeah, a little bit. I would be. Yeah.
You'd be surprised what, if New Orleans won by 10?
No, I think both. I think it's going to be a field goal game.
You think it's that close?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, I have no idea. I could see either one.
Well, here's what I'm nervous about from Philly's side. Their pass rush has been non-existent either.
It's so funny. Hassan Reddick hasn't signed with the Jets. so they get nothing out of him. Eagles signed Bryce Huff, and they've gotten nothing out of him. It's so funny. They want Hassan Reddick back, and I think the Jets would probably take Bryce Huff back.
And then you guys get rid of John Franklin Myers, and you missed him too. So it's like
people underestimate how big a loss that one was, because he did both. He got after the quarterback. Wasn't a big sack guy, but he got pressures.
Pressures.
But he was really good against the run too. And the Jets are struggling a little against the run, and that's concerning, because that definitely was one of their strengths last year. So.
This game might end like I called the Bronco game. I almost called the Bronco game right. What did I say? 9-3? It was close.
Yeah.
Chargers at the Steelers. You want to talk about running the football? This game might be over by 3-10.
John Madden would have been on this game, because it's going to be a slobber knocker. It's going to be like very physical, run the football, don't make mistakes. I think it comes down to the fact that Chargers have a better quarterback. Steelers have a little better defense than the Chargers, but Chargers have a better quarterback. I think they win this game. I'm blown away sometimes by the way people talk. The love that Justin Fields is getting because they're winning games without even scoring touchdowns. I'm just sitting here like, well, they don't need. I hear this. Of course, it's former defensive players on ESPN saying, but they don't need him to do that. Dude, do you really think you can go an entire season throwing for 130 yards and no touchdowns just because you're not throwing interceptions?
In that division?
In that division? Just because you're not throwing interceptions or turning the ball over? You do understand you can't score 13 every week and win a lot of games. Like, what did they score? 18 and 13 in the first 2 weeks? That's not going to cut it, folks.
That sounds right. It sounds right. Yeah.
6 field goals against Atlanta.
Yep.
And 1 touchdown and 2 field goals against
the Broncos.
Like, what are we talking about? This is not efficient football. This is not good. And it's not better than what they would be with Russell Wilson.
With that being said, though, I wouldn't go back to Russell Wilson yet either, though.
I suppose not, but you're gonna have a game where you're down 6 with 3 minutes left and you got the ball and you're punting with a minute and a half left because Justin Fields doesn't get you anywhere, and you're like, oh shit, we actually need a guy who can complete passes. Like,
yeah,
you have no track record of him having game-winning drives down by a field goal or more in his career. This is 4th year, folks. This is not a rookie, okay? This is 4th year. You have 0 games of him making fourth quarter comebacks down a couple points with a few minutes left. You do. I know he hasn't done it often, and he hasn't done it recently. But we have seen Russell Wilson do that in the past. And that's when the time. Of course, it's fine when your defense is kicking ass and not giving up any points and you're winning games. Well, I could play quarterback in that scenario, and I'm 51 years old. So it's just this idea that you can get away with this in this division, in this conference for that long. Come on, give me a break.
Yeah.
I like the Chargers.
A big game here for the Ravens.
Well, for both teams.
Ravens at the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens can't go 0-3, although they can.
They certainly can.
They can, but, they're thinking we can't. And I don't know. If you're Dallas, do you want to start the season 1-2? I guess you can take it a little more because of the division not being great with the Giants and Washington.
Very fair.
And Baltimore would have a really difficult time coming back from an 0-3 start in that division.
What if Pittsburgh starts 3-0 and now they're 0-3? That's a huge climb.
This is what I mean. Yeah, this is what I mean. Like, we all assume Cincinnati's going to kick it up a notch. We all recognize that Cleveland has talent. You can't start 0-3 and expect to finish higher than 3rd in that division. It's just too much to ask. But again, you know that Dallas. The game is in Dallas, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas doesn't want to start 1-2 to start the season, 0-2 at home. That's a hell of a thing, especially if you just gave Dak $60 million a year, pretty much all of it guaranteed. What's going on with your $60 million quarterback? You can't deliver wins? Oh, exactly what we were trying to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
But Dak is great. What are you gonna? Okay, how's that working out for you?
The Detroit Lions look to bounce back against a red-hot Arizona Cardinal team in Scottsdale.
This is a perfect example of I don't have a fucking clue what to expect from this game. I mean, you expect a bounce back for Detroit, right? Like, they played not their best weeks 1 and 2.
Let me ask you, what do you think's missing there?
I'm not sure. That's the problem. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a little banged up.
Full go in practice.
What's that?
Full go with practice, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the questionable next to his name, but if he's full go in practice, he's playing.
Dude,
like,
he has to have a leg missing for him to miss a game, that guy.
You're probably right. But is it affecting his play on the field? Is he not getting open as much? I don't know. You have the same head coach, you have the same offense coordinator, you have better defense than you had, you have the same offensive line, same running backs. Jamison Williams is playing even better than he's played since he's been picked there.
Pick me, Coach. Pick me.
Scotty, what do you have to say?
I think the tight end play has been missing from last year. Sam Laporta has been a little quiet, and that opens up everything for St. Brown, the run game, the screen game, the check down game. So I think Campbell said that he had a little nagging injury in camp that's kept him a little slow right now. But listen, shoot that fucking thing and let's go, bro. Let's.
Isn't it fascinating though? Let's say that's what it is. Isn't it fascinating? This one little, it doesn't even seem like that big a deal, right? But man, this is what I mean by, here's a perfect example. We're going to get to college football in a minute. Alabama can go into Wisconsin, 16-point favorites. They run away with it, right?
Smoked.
Clear as crystal difference in talent level for both of these teams. It's so obvious, right? But this is also what makes college football so cool when we get those big upsets, because there's a massive disparity in talent. You don't have that disparity in the NFL. I say this probably 10 times a year. The difference between the best team in the league and the worst team in the league is inches in the NFL, not feet. Whereas it's feet, maybe yards in college football, not inches.
Yeah,
it's really sick. And that's what I mean with Detroit. Like, man, let's say you're right. So you're telling me that because you're not getting unbelievable play out of your tight end, of all things, that you are not even the same team that you were. It's crazy.
Well, look at the common denominator. The year before they didn't have him. They were what, like at the end of the road, like fight back. Last year they had their world beaters, and now he's a little sluggish now, and they're like,
But that's what I'm saying. Like, the difference here is so small. The variances are so small. Something like that, yes, it makes that much of a difference. Sounds crazy, but it happens to be true.
Sunday night, Kansas City at Atlanta.
Is Kansas City just like in the game of the week every week? Is that just the way it is?
I mean, they earned that.
I mean, they're obviously must-see TV. There's no doubt about it. I give Kelsey some credit. He didn't come out and say that it was because of Taylor Swift, but he acknowledged that he hasn't been keeping up his normal end of the bargain, and yet they're still winning games. Unbelievable.
Yeah, which really pisses me off.
But this is interesting, right? Because can Atlanta continue to run the ball the way they did against Philly? Was that a Philly thing, or was it an Atlanta thing imposing their will on that Philly defense?
Right.
I'm not sure, because what are you going to compare it to? The first game against the Steelers, who look like, at least right now, probably the best defense in the NFL. So hard to say.
Remember who Kansas City has on that D-line? Chris Jones.
Chris Jones, of course. But Atlanta has one of the top 5 or 6 offensive lines if, and it's a big if, but if they can establish a running game, grind out some first downs, what are you doing? Forget about the scores.
Keeping Mahomes off the field. Yes, sir.
Sing it with me. Sing it with me, Scotty. Sing it with me. There you go.
Off the field.
Keep that fucking guy off the field. And then he can't make miracle plays and come back. So that's the key to that game. Can Atlanta, it doesn't have to be, the way it was against Philly, like unstoppable. But can they establish a running game, grind out some first downs, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, getting first downs, keeping drives going, keeping your defense fresh on the sidelines, keeping Mahomes off the field. That's the key to the game right there.
Peter, you have anything to add before I get to my hot seat game of the week?
I don't.
All right, my hot seat game of the week, we will go to Cleveland, Ohio for the New York Giants at the Browns.
Man. I was asked this week, would you fire Dable? And I said, well, if they do fire Dable, I hope the Jets immediately fire Robert Saleh and hire Dable, because I think he's a good coach.
I agree with you on that.
With that said, this is the nature of the beast. This is his 3rd season. Things have not looked great since the first season. They don't look much better now. What else are you going to do? If you're looking to make some kind of big change, what else would it be? So losing.
Tiki Barber's not walking through that door, Pete. You know what I mean?
No, and neither is Saquon Barkley.
No.
Not that it would make much of a difference.
Well, he
so
is. He is once at some point in the year. I mean, that's
exactly. I will say this though: Malik Neighbors looks like a nice player. Can they work on some things? Can they develop some schemes to get him the ball more? Maybe some short crossing routes, certainly on deep routes. That'd be nice to see if they can do that. But I don't know, man. It's not a good football team. It's not a good football team.
The Browns grind
on defense.
The Browns won last week, but they didn't look good either. It was 18, 13, 17. Some weird.
They haven't looked good in both games. So, but I feel like that's a Deshaun Watson thing. I'd be fascinated to find out what the locker room thinks of Deshaun Watson. I'm sure for the first year, maybe even part of last year, they were like, "Oh, we got a guy now." After a while,
and then all the other shit.
Yeah, after a while,
these guys go home to their wives and go, "Oh, fuck that guy." You know, it's.
I could deal with a lot if we're winning.
Yeah,
can't deal with as much if we're losing.
Peter, to college football we go.
Absolutely.
Man, we are like a quarter of the way over already.
I don't even like.
I know.
I can't. Knew you were gonna say it. It's not even October yet. Come on.
Sorry. Georgia 13, Kentucky 12. Everybody hear that again. Georgia 13, Kentucky 12.
Where's your boy, Mangano?
Yeah, I know. A little quiet today, huh?
With us today, huh?
A lot of softy.
Talking about the Bulldogs. Listen, a win is a win is a win, and if they go undefeated, nobody's going to give a shit about this game against Kentucky. But if there's one thing you say about Georgia this year, now listen, the defense gave up 12 points. Nothing wrong with that. Their offense has not been great this year. They're missing Bowers. It's not the same offensive line. Like
half their team got arrested in the offseason and kicked off the team.
Never good. There's definitely some issues there on the offensive side of the ball. Will they get them straightened out? I like the quarterback. I certainly like some of the talent they have on the outside. The question I'll ask you, okay, so this is obviously not a great game for them. Are they still the class of the SEC?
Well, I got to tell you, and I just witnessed it. I think Texas now is, and remember, they're now in the SEC.
And Texas has been moved up ahead of Georgia.
Numero uno. Yep.
To number one in the country. So, I don't know. Anyway, interesting. It was an interesting game. I watched a lot of that game, actually, because once I start to see that it's close and we could have an epic upset, I'm like, oh, shit, I got to watch this one. So.
Not too much here to talk about. Sorry for one of your picks. Alabama 42, Wisconsin 10?
It was bad.
Oof.
And it didn't help that their starting quarterback went down in the first quarter, so kind of
out for the year too. By the way,
yeah, the hope bubble got burst. Did you send me the text about the picture after Jump Around played? It was funny because I was watching the game. Well, I was watching most of that game with my girlfriend, and I said, her kids were. I'm like, watch this. This is so cool. So they're getting slaughtered.
Yeah.
At the end of the third quarter when they do Jump Around, but nobody left the building, and there's still 100, whatever. I don't know, 110,000. Who knows how many there are?
Nah, I think it's like 80 there. 80, 90,
whatever it is, it's a lot, and the place was rocking. And then as they're jumping around and as they're finishing, I said, isn't it amazing that not one of those fucking kids left the stadium? Like, they waited for that song. Even the Texas kids on the sidelines were jumping up and down. It is one of the coolest things in all of college sports. And then you texted me a picture of I think it was like 11 or 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and the whole student section was emptied out. They're on their way to getting their 30-pack of Keystone Light or whatever fuck they're drinking over there.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Yeah, I mean, and it makes sense. But I would stick around, too, because it's one of the coolest things there is. It's one of the absolutely coolest things there is. Thrashing, though, is an absolute thrashing. You were right. I was wrong on that one.
Closer game than I thought in Columbia, Missouri. The Tigers 27, Boston College 21. Bill O'Brien's got him going, man.
Got him playing good defense. Their quarterback is interesting. He's a nice athlete. He's not the greatest passer in the world, but
Missouri was not one of your picks, my friend. So I don't know whether the
No, I bet them. I bet them.
Oh.
I bet them. I bet them straight.
What were we laying, 16?
16. I teased them down to 8. That last touchdown sucked ass
Christ.
And killed my teaser. And I had them in a money line parlay with 5 other teams, and all I needed was Washington to beat Washington State, and they did not. So I lost that one too.
Ugh.
Thanks, guys. That game bothered me a little bit. I kind of looked at Missouri as one of like the sneaky good teams in the country because nobody really pays attention to Missouri. I thought that was a game that was kind of necessary for them to win bigger, to, I don't know, kind of get recognized nationally as a better team. You know, Boston College upset Florida State. They played well. That would have been a nice statement win, you know, win it by 15, 20, something like that. The fact that it was closer bothers me. I like their quarterback. I like their defense. They just didn't play their best. Maybe they were looking forward to this week.
Michigan State. Who's Missouri playing this week? Do I have that?
I forget.
No, I don't. I saw. Yeah, it's not.
Who it is? I just feel like it's a decent team.
Yeah.
But they're favored by 20. It might be Florida or Vanderbilt. But because of the way
it might be Florida actually.
Yeah, but because of the way they played last week, I can't do it. But I think maybe they were looking forward to this week.
Notre Dame 66, Purdue 7.
Insane. This just goes to show you. A week ago, they lose at home to Northern Illinois, and now by halftime they had 42 points.
Yeah.
Am I correct about that? 42, 44, whatever, something.
Yeah. Yep. You're right.
Tell me about that. Was it at Purdue or was it at home?
It was at Purdue.
I mean like it just makes
right down the road,
no sense. And you can't even give me the argument that Notre Dame was looking forward to the Purdue game. No, they weren't. Nobody's looking forward to the Purdue game. Stop it. So I don't understand. Texas A&M just won this past weekend. You go into Texas A&M and you beat them and you look fantastic, and then you can't even like muster a touchdown against Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois is actually a pretty good team. They won again this past weekend, so I think they're 3-0. Like pretty good football team. But come on, you're Notre Dame.
Yep.
And then you go on the road to Purdue and win by 100. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I started the show up by saying, I don't know, folks. I can tell you what I see. I don't know what it means. I don't know what the hell it means, any of it.
Last one here for me, Peter. The Colorado Buffaloes 28, the Colorado State Rams 9.
Not the most impressive win, but a win is a win.
But they needed a win. They needed to shut Norvell up and all that stuff. And
it was. Yeah, it would have been nightmarish if they would have lost this game. And it started off close. In fact, they scored. I think Colorado State followed up right away with a touchdown. I'm like, ooh, we might get a barn burner going here, like a high scoring, shootout or something like that. But they took care of business. Of course, Shedeur Sanders, end of the game, refuses to shake hands with the opposing quarterback. And in the dumbest response, I think, in the history of all sports, oh, I didn't know who he was. Well, I don't know. He's wearing a Colorado State uniform with shoulder pads and a helmet. Regardless of what position he plays, he tried to shake your hand, like shake his hand.
Yeah.
Whether it was a quarterback or whether it was a kicker. Like a guy from the other team comes over, tries to dap you up and give you 5. Just do it. Why are you being an asshole?
These guys are starting to. Yeah,
all of them are becoming so unlikable. And what is so funny, a year ago, almost to the day, they were the darlings. Everyone loved them. College game day was there. Everybody couldn't wait. It was must-see TV. And now, 75, 80% of the population wants to see them lose every game they play.
Michael Irvin flying down. This guy, that guy. Yeah.
So they're becoming incredibly unlikable. And a team that's an upstart team that, frankly, is not that good yet. Sorry to break it to you. You're not that good yet. You're just putting a target on your back. So when you do get to the nice, meaty part of your schedule, teams are going to try jamming up your ass. They play Baylor this week. Should they beat Baylor? They should beat Baylor. But Baylor's going to be playing their best game of the year. And that's the problem. You're not that good, but you're creating an atmosphere where you're always going to get the other team's best.
Yeah.
You're never going to get an easy week because of that. And you did it to yourselves.
You have anything else?
I do not.
So week 4. Tomorrow night, sneaky good game that no one had this one. Number 24 Illinois at number 22 Nebraska.
Interesting, though, 22 versus 24, yet Nebraska's favored by like 8.5. Like it's a pretty big spread for teams that are right there in the rankings. You would think 22 versus 24, that Nebraska, okay, maybe like 3-4 point favorite. Nope, 8.5, more than a touchdown, which I would have loved to take in Nebraska, and maybe it's worth it in a teaser or something like that, but 8.5 seems like a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Brett Bielema has Illinois playing pretty well. They played good defense, run the ball. They look like Wisconsin, like when he was at Wisconsin. So they're good. They're physical. I suspect Nebraska is going to win this game. I like their quarterback a lot. I like what Matt Rule has done there. Defense, as we pointed out last week, defense playing pretty damn good, flying around the field. I think Matt Rule is proving himself to be a good college football coach.
Well, listen,
I think they'll probably win this game.
Now that we got some proof, it might not have been his issue in Carolina.
Oh, yeah. They look better with him there than they have since.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yes, sir. To the big house, number 11 USC at number 18 Michigan. That's just cool to see a regular season game with those teams.
Absolutely. I got to be honest with you. I wanted to put this one as one of my bets, but out of respect for you, I didn't because I didn't want to do it like 2 out of the last 3 weeks go against Michigan. But I think it's a tough spot.
Hey, listen. I'm still a national champion, so I really don't.
Yeah. I think you got to live on that. But to that point, look, you won a national championship last year, and because of that, you had like. Would you lose like 18 out of 22 starters?
Yeah, exactly.
And your quarterback,
and the most important position quarterback. Yeah. It's a lot.
It's gonna be tough.
It's a lot.
It's gonna be tough. That's one of the biggest differences between the NFL and and college football. Like one season in college football, you can graduate. It's not free agency. It's not like you can't try to.
Well, it might start to be.
Well, that's true too. But you know what I'm saying? Like, if a guy graduates or is going to NFL, you can't like. Offer him a better contract or something like he's gone. Like it's over. That's it. Whereas in the NFL, you can keep guys. Anyway, so they're in a tough spot, but they still play very good defense. They're still a very physical team. I suspect that offense will.
They got the run game going a little bit. Improve. Yeah, the line's gonna be better.
I don't like that they announced Orji as their quarterback.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too. Yeah,
I don't necessarily like him as a player, but
the other kid didn't get care of the ball, bro. You can't leave him in there.
True story. So I think USC, and I'm going more off week 1 against LSU, which LSU doesn't play very good defense either, as we saw this past week. That was a game that you didn't have on there. LSU and was it A&M?
Oh, South Carolina. You're right. I didn't.
Great game. South Carolina winning most of that game, and LSU makes a nice comeback late. Anyway.
Couple questionable calls in there. Perhaps.
No doubt about it. They got helped a little bit. But yeah, I think Michigan's in a tough spot here. Although it's in a big house, right?
It is. 330 kick, which I love. I love the 330 kicks. It's a great.
So we'll see.
I think this year Sharon's kind of just, tread water.
Sure.
It sucks not having a quarterback. The guy I think that was going to start the year was hurt in summer, so that didn't even that was compounding the problem.
Yeah.
But now next year they could get some offensive things, but then they lose all our defensive guys. So now it's like a whole new another situation. But yeah, it's tough. We'll see, but it's gonna be tough. Especially Miller Moss, man. That guy's pretty good too. So a quarterback at USC.
He's pretty darn good. Yeah, he's pretty darn good. He plays within the system. He's literally the antithesis of Caleb Williams. Like he plays within the system. What does the play call for? This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to read, and I'm going to make it happen within that.
Yeah, he's a guy Lincoln Riley loves because there's no surprises.
Because you understand what to do. As a former head coach, but more importantly to this topic, as a former guy who called offensive plays, it's very difficult. It's great, by the way. First of all, let me just say it's great when you have a guy that can just turn a busted play into a positive play or even a touchdown. But it can be difficult to get a rhythm in your play calling because a lot of times, I'm getting into the weeds here, but I'm going to try to be as quick as I can. A lot of times you run play A, and then you run play B because it's similar to play A, but it's a little different, and that little bit of difference you're trying to throw the defense off. You're trying to make the defense think it's play A, but it's a different play. It's hard to do that when you have a guy who's just ad-libbing all the time because nothing looks like anything. And there's no cohesion in play calling, so it could be difficult. That's what I'm trying to say.
A game that I would.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I got you, but I know. But
you might get me. I don't know if anybody's listening. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
I could try to explain it, but I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
A game that I will have a little while. Number 12 Utah and number 14 Oklahoma State.
It's an interesting game now, maybe more so because Utah lost their starting quarterback. Right? And now I don't know what to think of them.
Well, looked pretty good last week with the backup.
They did, but they weren't playing Oklahoma State, who has played pretty decent to start the season. So it's a tough spot. Interesting game. We shall see. I never like it. This is a team you and I both thought could possibly go undefeated this year before the playoffs came, or at least before the Big 12 championship game. It's a different situation.
It's just crazy that this guy keeps getting hurt too. It's like bizarre.
It's insane. And like you said, he's 25 years old. This is barely this is a man. This is a grown man. I'm a grown man.
I'm 26. Maybe the game of the week. Number 6, Tennessee at number 15, Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm interested in this one because number one, I watched Tennessee play a couple times now. They are explosive. I mean, they are explosive. They can score from anywhere on the field at any time, in any fashion, by the way. I think the two most explosive teams in the country so far that I have seen, that at least that comes to mind right now, are Tennessee and Ole Miss. I'm a little more impressed with Tennessee right now because they went into NC State and absolutely blew them out of the building. So I was wildly impressed with that one. I like their quarterback. I like their wide receivers. Their offensive line is playing well. They run the ball. This is a very good football team. I'm so tempted. I would have loved to take in Tennessee, but they're favored by 7 at Oklahoma. And this is a perfect game to say, Oklahoma has been hit or miss so far in the beginning of the season. They didn't look great against Houston. Probably should have lost the game. But they're going to be totally up for this one, and they're probably going to play above their heads. I can't do it.
Josh Heupel back in Norman?
Fantastic. He's doing a great job there, man. He's doing really a great job. So that's definitely tops on my list.
I wrote this one down for you because I'm genuinely curious of what you think here. The 3-0 Cal Bears at the 0-3 Florida State Seminoles. What
fascinating,
the fuck is going on?
Somehow Florida State is still favored in this game. Now, not by much.
By a safety, I think. Right?
But I don't know that they have the right to be favored against anybody right now.
Against Tallahassee High, I don't think they're favored.
And if DJ Uyunglele is going to be the starting quarterback, then I would probably take Cal. Now, I'd have to look at the schedule. I don't know who Cal has played so far.
They beat Auburn in Auburn.
They did.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good win. That's
a lot of traveling, but still, it's a good win.
Yeah. I would probably. How could you take Florida State? They've given you no reason to expect that they're going to win.
I have to remind our listeners, Cal is now in the ACC. So this is a conference
the
game.
Atlantic Coast Conference has the most specific California team. That makes sense.
Whoa,
is Washington State all?
Stanford.
It's Stanford? Okay. Yeah. Where's Washington State?
They're in the Pac-12 with Oregon State, just the two of them. They're just hanging out.
Is it really just the two of them?
Yeah.
The Pac-12.
Oh, dude, it's a fucking mess, dude.
You know what are they going to have a conference championship game?
No. I don't think so.
I think I know who'll be in it.
Let's just fast forward to then at that point.
Holy shit, yeah.
You have anything else, brother?
No, you make a good point there, though. That's an interesting game, right?
Yeah, it is.
For all the wrong reasons, by the way.
Dude, if you go 0-4, dude, you texted me last week when I text you. You said fire Norvell. And I said, well, dude, he did go on the field last year to the bowl game. But, dude, you go 0-4.
Come on, dude. This is not 0-3.
You didn't play Clemson yet? You didn't play
you didn't play anybody.
Yeah.
You didn't play anybody. And 2 of those losses are at home. Yeah. At home. Who did they lose to? Tulane? Was it Tulane or was it Memphis?
Memphis.
Come on, dude.
Ugh.
Mike Norvell's old team.
Ugh.
Think he wants to be back there right now? Oh, my God. It's just so gross. It's
Peter,
so gross.
Can I have some music, please?
I would love to give you some music.
Last week, we were both 2-2. I had Utah State and Indiana as my winners. Hit college football, and then I'm like, going looking good until Sunday, and then nope, Rams loser. Seattle lost by 0.5 point. Peter hit Maryland and the Cincinnati Bengals. Good pick there.
Thank you.
And he lost the Wisconsin Badgers by a lot, and the Rams by even more. So
yeah, bad. I feel lucky that I went 2-2. I thought it was worse. Kind of forgot that Maryland game. That was a good pick. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, you know what? I almost jumped in on that in the gambling world, and I'm like, yeah.
It was one of the teams I had in that money line parlay that was the winner, but then
sure you did.
Washington, son of a bitch.
I will start us off this week. I am going to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. LSU coming off an emotional win. You know, I hate taking a team off an emotional win on the road. But if anybody's seen UCLA play football, God, it is.
They make Florida State look good.
Deshaun Foster, I don't know. if he's got a clue or if he has any talent. I don't know what's going on there, but they're traveling all the way to Louisiana after getting their ass kicked by Indiana.
Bad.
Yeah, I would lay 24 points with LSU there. I think that game's ugly early. I think the backups are in the third quarter.
LSU is going to put up a lot of points against UCLA.
Yep.
A lot of points.
Yep.
I would be surprised if LSU's not in the 50s. I'm going to go with a team here that has shown no shame about putting up a lot of points and just absolutely destroying opponents. I'm going to go Ole Miss minus 35 against Georgia Southern. That's a shitload of points. It's at Ole Miss. I actually think Lane Kiffin might be a little upset about last week's game because they only scored like 38. It was like 38-6 or something like that. So they might be like, dude, we gotta fire this thing back up. I like their quarterback. I like their talent at wide receiver. I even like their defense, which is crazy to say there at Ole Miss. This is clearly the best team he's had there, and he's got no problem running up the score. So give me Ole Miss at home minus 35 over Georgia Southern.
This game is fishy.
Oh, here we go.
The Utah Utes go to Oklahoma State, and they're only getting 2 points with a backup quarterback. Oak State's blown everybody out. I don't like it. I'm taking Utah +2 at Oklahoma State.
You do have some balls. I don't like that at all. I just don't trust Oklahoma State enough to pick them. Utah's got excellent defense, so this will definitely be the best defense that Oklahoma State has played this year. So we'll see. You might be right about that one. I'm going to go out west, upper West Coast here. Washington took it on the chin again at home against Washington State last week. Rivalry game. I don't know, some jug,
Apple Cup,
or Apple Cup, whatever the hell it is.
Some jug.
It was an embarrassing. It was an embarrassing loss, and in comes exactly what they needed. The Northwestern Wildcats. I think they're going to take the brunt of this one. It's a lot of points to me. Washington's favored by 10.5. Yeesh. But I got a feeling they might win by 20. So give me Washington at home minus 10.5 against Northwestern.
A lot of purple in that game. Holy Christ.
There is indeed.
To the
NFL, by the way, just to be clear, there is a clear as crystal talent gap between these two teams.
Yeah.
So that's really why I'm taking it. So
I agree.
At home, monster talent gap. I expect Washington to roll.
To Sunday we go. For me, Sunday night, I'm going to Atlanta. KC hasn't looked great. They haven't looked bad, but they haven't looked. You can make an argument they almost could be 0-2.
Agreed.
Atlanta had basically a bad 6.5 quarters to start the season. But they've woken up. Kirk looks a little more comfortable. Game by game, he's going to look a little more comfortable. Bijan Robinson's a monster. They got to get Pitts involved with London. I think they keep it close. I love the hook here. Give me Atlanta +2.5 at home versus the Chiefs.
I agree with you that, we talked about it last week, that they were using Kirk Cousins in a way that is not necessarily his strength. You can't just put him back in shotgun, drop back, throw the ball. He's best when you're running the ball at least a little bit, and then you can run play action because he's one of the best in the game at his play action activity there. So I like that one. I like what they're doing with him, and I suspect they will continue to improve and figure out what he's best at and what he can, how he'll interact with the players around him. So that's an interesting one. And to be honest with you, Kansas City doesn't blow anybody out anymore.
Yeah,
they're a winner. They win, but they don't win big anymore. They're not one of these types of teams. They just aren't that team. They don't blow people out. Vikings and Texans. This game is in Minnesota.
Wow.
I don't think the Texans have played great. I think they played good, but I don't think they played great. They won against the Colts in week 1. Am I correct?
Yes.
But even in that game, they didn't win big, or they won late. They didn't cover. It was close. And I got to be honest with you, they didn't play that great against the Bears. That game to me was way closer than it should have been. Caleb Williams didn't play well, but yet they were still in that game. And on the other side, the Vikings have played as good as anybody in the league so far. Sam Darnold looks really good, loaded with weapons. The defense has played good. I know the guy's name, Brian Flores, has done an excellent job coordinating that defense, and they played well. Why do we assume that Houston could just walk into Minnesota and beat them? They're favored. Houston is favored in this game. Fuck that. Give me the Vikings +2 at home against the Texans.
Well, Peter, I am dumber than I look.
And that's saying something.
Thank you, sir. I don't know why I'm doing this, to be honest with you.
Because we can't figure out anything of what the fuck is going on in the NFL?
I think this is a desperate spot here.
I think I know who you take.
It makes no fucking sense what I'm doing. Buffalo coming off a long week, long break. The Jacksonville Jaguars 0-2, looking putrid.
No, you're not. I'm going to cut you off. You can't do it. I'm not going
Jacksonville Jaguars plus 5.5 at Buffalo. I have no idea why. Yeah, I'm just gonna end. I can't stop laughing. I'm just gonna.
You clearly felt the same way I did when I was looking down the list of games. I'm like, I don't fucking like any of them.
Oh,
I don't like any of these games.
Oh.
Good luck.
Thank you.
I have no analysis for that pick. Go get him, Scotty.
Right.
Go get him. I'm sure it'll work out just
fine. Student body left, and let's go.
I'm gonna head back to Cleveland. They're playing the Giants at home. Look, neither one of these teams is playing particularly well. The Giants have played half-decent defense, I guess. But to me, this is just a pick against the Giants. Browns, 6.5 is a lot, I think. But I think they win by more than a touchdown. So give me the Browns. I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of with you. Like I said, I look down the list and I'm like, oh, no. I definitely encourage our listeners to take our picks this week with a grain of salt.
Yes, please.
Especially in the NFL. I do like my college picks.
I do too. I do too.
Very leery about my pro picks right now. I don't know jack shit in the NFL. So, but give me the Browns minus 6.5. They're clearly the better team. They have the better quarterback. They have the better defense. They have the better offensive line. They have
home.
They're at home. They should win this game comfortably. So we'll take them. Give me the Browns minus 6.5.
All right, in review, I got the LSU Tigers minus 24, Utah plus 2, Atlanta Falcons plus 2.5, and the Jaguars, I don't know why, plus 5.5.
I got Ole Miss minus 35 at home against Georgia Southern. I got the Washington Huskies at home minus 10.5 against Northwestern. I think they win by 20. I got the Vikings at home plus 2 against the Texans, and I like the Browns at home. All 4 home teams here. Browns at home minus 6.5 against the Giants.
All right, to trivia we go.
For me to get my ass kicked. Here we go.
All right, pucker up, Buttercup.
I got to take comments off.
Well, I don't think me and Gano's tuned in today, so I think you're all right. Although Mac likes to play too. So.
Yeah, he might give me some bad picks too.
All right, in honor of the Michigan USC game, I am going trivia in those 2 specific schools. Who leads Michigan all time in receiving touchdowns? Anthony Carter, Desmond Howard, Mario Manningham, Braylon Edwards.
No. I like them all. Damn.
You should, because they're 1 through 4 on the all-time list.
Yeah, makes sense. I don't know why I feel like Anthony Carter's at the top of that list, but so Anthony Carter, Braylon Edwards,
Mario Manningham, and a guy called Desmond Howard.
I'm going to go with my gut.
Anthony Carter?
Yes, please.
No, sir. Braylon Edwards.
Son of a bitch. Of course. I wanted to switch it to Braylon Edwards. You're not going to believe me, but and I'm like, no, don't do that. Every time you do that, it ends up being the one you originally wanted.
That would be 39 career touchdowns, by the way, for Braylon.
So what was the order of those 4? Do you have that or you don't know?
It was Braylon, Desmond, Carter, Manningham.
Okay.
And I think, and good for Manningham, he only played 3 years. The other guys played 4.
Okay. Oh, that is impressive then.
Who leads USC all-time in receiving touchdowns? Robert Woods, Dwayne Jarrett, Mike Williams, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Who was the third one?
Mike Williams. And not the Mike Williams. Not the Mike Williams that's on the Jets.
Who was the first one?
Robert Woods.
I think it's Robert Woods.
Dwayne Jarrett.
Son of a bitch. I hate trivia.
41. Robert Woods was second.
Of course he was. As am I.
Michigan, he like sixth. Michigan and USC are two of the top universities with NFL draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what spot they fall into?
What do you mean, like most draft picks, where they are?
So, like Notre Dame's one. Like, where would you put USC and Michigan in the top, whatever?
Okay.
You get some leeway here, obviously, because it's just.
Yeah. So, are they both top 10?
They are.
Both top 10. I'm going to start off by saying Michigan has more.
No.
USC has more.
Correct.
All right. Is Notre Dame number 1 on that list? Is that why you said that?
Yes.
All right. Let's say USC at number 3.
So close. I'll give it to you. 2.
2. Really?
Yeah.
Damn. And I'm going to say Michigan at 7.
Lower. Like
better?
closer to 1. Yeah.
5?
Correct.
How about that?
Yeah. Nutty, right?
No shit. I'm a little surprised at that one. Huh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought, you know why? Just because I feel like Michigan to me has always been good. Like, it's actually rare that they're not good. I feel like USC has had some more extended periods of not being great. You know what I mean?
I don't understand. I understand that. Yeah, Michigan had a lull there too, but not like as long as USC's either.
I guess it's because, like, even when they're not winning, there's so much freaking talent in Southern California that the guys are there and they get drafted even if they're not winning games.
Yeah, they've had a lot of coaches fuck them up too, right? So they've had
absolutely,
like,
absolutely. You think about it, man. They didn't really recover until, I mean, I guess if you want to say now, since Pete Carroll left. If you really think about it.
So they had a combination of what? Clay Helton, Sark, Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
I feel like there's another guy in there too, but like I don't think.
And yeah, it was like what the Sam Darnold years were about the best it was.
That was Clay Helton, right? Yeah, Jesus
absolutely.
Christ. Oof.
So, I don't know. That's a pretty long time.
Yeah,
but yet they still get guys drafted. You know what I mean?
They leave Lane Kiffin on the tarmac. Like what a fucking.
That's all crazy shit, man. All right. Before we go, what's tops on your list of what you're watching this weekend?
Tomorrow night, I'm gonna try to check out that Nebraska-Illinois game. I think that'll be fun for a while.
Absolutely.
Saturday, I don't know what's on at noon. I don't think anything great. And then 3:30 Michigan, and then followed by that is the Oklahoma-Tennessee game, which would be very nice. And then Sunday, a full slate of questionable games again.
Absolutely. So I am looking forward to Tennessee versus Oklahoma more than anything else this weekend. For the people at home that have Red Zone and like to get a little workout in, here's what I did last Sunday. And yes, Monday was rough. So I had on Red Zone. This was only for the 1 o'clock. So literally started at 1 and I was done at 4. I didn't do anything. Every time they showed a touchdown, 10 push-ups. Every time they showed a field goal, 10 air squats. And every time there was a turnover, every time they showed a turnover, 20 crunches.
Holy shit.
3 hours of that. 3 hours of nonstop football. And of course, I didn't realize until like the end of the first quarter, there were more games played in the 1 o'clock slot this past Sunday than there will be the entire season. So I'm like, great idea, jack off to do push-ups and air squats at this time. But it was, I got to be honest with you, it was a great workout, and it made even the games more interesting. Like I was really paying attention, and I was having cocktails during it. So how about that? I think I'm gonna do it again on Sunday. Why not? It was pretty neat, and I was drained, so it was good.
You should do the 4 o'clock slate. There's only 5 games, but you'll be wasted by then. So it's
I'm telling you, when that clock struck 4 o'clock, I threw my hands up and go, I'm done. I'm not doing any more push-ups. I'm done. That's it. I'm done. For Scott Bracey, I'm Pete Colasano. You've been listening to Bump and Run. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Later.
All right.
Awesome.
Okay, so I got to make dinner, get him to his game, so either later tonight or early tomorrow morning, like last week.
Sounds good, brother.
Did I say tomorrow morning? Yeah, early tomorrow morning. One or the other. We'll see.
No problem, me.
All right, boss. I'll talk to you later.
Later, pal.
Bye.